Barbie small and so petite, her clothes and figure look so neat.
When first conceived, no one realized that the country of America would be so affected by Barbara Millicent Roberts, are known most commonly and simply as Barbie, created by Ruth Handler. Ruth Handler's creation of Barbie managed to change the style of advertising directed to children and change the role and body images of women across America, while also causing her to consequently lead Mattel to becoming the #1 toy company, both nationally and internationally. When Ruth Handler and her husband Elliot Handler created Mattel with Harold Matson in 1945, no one imagined the impact it would have on the future. The team started selling picture frames, but Elliot found himself using the scraps to create furniture for toys. With Matson leaving the business, the attention of the company shifted to toy manufacturing under the Handlers. Despite the pair originally not having any experience in the business, America's post-World War II marketplace was without a significant toy market, giving the Handlers the opportunity to create a variety of toys, such as a Yuka-Doodle, a musical Jack-in-the-Box, and a burp gun. A monumental point for Mattel was when the company bought 52 weeks of advertising on television with the Mickey Mouse Club show in 1955. Not only was Mattel able to advertise the burp gun, but it also introduced a new method for toys to be advertised on a continuous basis and impacted the marketing of toys. Never before had a product been advertised to a child rather than an adult. Not only this, but previously, toys were only advertised during the holiday season and depended on the cooperation of retailers.
With a hard-hitting TV advertising campaign 5 times a day on the right shows. The Steve Canyon helmet just couldn't miss, and it didn't. Certainly makes a perfect combination with Ideal's Steve Canyon glider bomb.
You're so right. And I'd like to enlarge upon Milton Caniff's prediction. I predict that this Christmas will be your biggest Christmas ever.
The decision to sponsor the Mickey Mouse Club was ultimately a beneficial choice for Mattel that caused easier, faster, and nationalized marketing. Despite the popularity of the burp gun, it wouldn't be until 4 years later that Mattel would cause another great change in the status of toys and a sharp increase in their own sales with a new product. While on a trip in Europe, Handler came across a doll with curves and a figure completely different from the childlike baby dolls manufactured in the United States. The doll was in fact Bid Lily, created in 1955, who was not intended for children, but was more of a lewd toy sold to men. Despite this, Handler was inspired, and plans for Barbie were further pushed into existence. These plans were first created when Handler saw her daughter Barbara and her friends playing with adult papered toy dolls, instead of the usual baby dolls played with in that time. It was also then that Handler decided to put her plans in motion to create a doll for children that broke the status quo. It took 3 years for Barbie to be produced because of resistance from the company, retailers, and from parents, all thinking a doll with breasts, curves, and a generally adult figure would be too controversial and negatively received.
Half of our customers didn't want to buy the thing. And I was telling Ruth, see, I told you, you know. But as soon as it got on the counter, I was wrong, she was right.
Barbie's official debut on March 9, 1959, led to about 350,000 dolls advertised as a teenage fashion model, being sold at $3 each. The doll was so popular that secretaries were constantly answering fan mail that came from a growing fan club of eventually 1.5 million. In 1960, Mattel, led by the Handlers, became a publicly owned company, and in 1963, the company had its stocks listed on the New York and Pacific Coast stock exchanges. By 1965, sales reached $100 million, and Mattel was even included in Fortune's 500 largest U.S. industrial companies. 1960 also saw Mattel join worldwide marketing, with Barbie being responded to positively in multiple countries, and eventually being successfully manufactured in more than 150 countries. When Ruth Handler became president of Mattel in 1967, Mattel became even more diversified, with factories emerging in Asia, Europe, Canada, and Mexico. The company and the need to manufacture Barbie supported 5,000 workers in Japan and 800 workers in California. By Ruth Handler's death in 2002, more than 1 billion dolls had been sold, and Mattel was one of the leading toy manufacturers and marketers in the world, something that could not have been done without Ruth Handler and her creation. The 60s were not just for Barbie, it was also a time in which America was changing dramatically and drastically. This marked the beginning of the feminist movement and the signs that allowed it to strengthen, such as birth control and contraception, and the acknowledgement of concepts such as equal pay, equal work, and the sharing of housework. It was also a time for the civil rights movement, when protests were a regular occurrence for the rights of blacks and the end of segregation. Barbie did not miss out on any of these changes, and she did not ignore them either. The rise of feminism and women being told not to settle for being a housewife was shown in Barbie's multiple job options, these being a fashion model, teacher, nurse, and ballerina. While those options were admittedly considered generally suitable for women at the time, the independence Barbie and women in America could have was exhibited. As the years went by, Barbie accumulated more than 100 different jobs, all a mix and variety of majors and specialties. From Olympic skater to a surgeon to even a rapper, Barbie's list of future occupations is expected to grow. As a result of the civil rights movement, an African American doll was released in 1967 under the name Colored Francie. Criticism for the doll rose because the doll did not have the correct ethnic traits, as she was just a colored version of the Caucasian dolls. As a result of her unpopularity, another African American doll was released a year later under the name Christy. She had more realistic features, with darker skin and eyes, and a bubble-cut afro-like hairstyle. She was also given a separate life and independent personality from Barbie, making her an individual toy and considered a part of the official Barbie and Friends lineup. While this doll was more positively received as an accurate African American doll, disapproval came from parents who were not yet ready to see a black doll on the market, attacking Mattel for becoming mainstream and focusing on an issue that was considered to be just a fad. However, Mattel has to be commended for not only their refusal to drop Christy from the lineup, but for also being one of the few, if not the only toy companies that created a different doll mold for every race instead of just recoloring over a Caucasian mold. However, Barbie is not free from criticism, and she has been accused time and time again for managing to change the role of girls in a more negative way, specifically involving the appearance of females and their bodies. With the creation of Barbie came the creation of toys with curves and breasts, now being advertised to children. This is believed to be the cause for young girls to have body dysmorphia, with the explanation of many eating disorders being connected to a history of playing with Barbie dolls. Barbie's unrealistic standards are further evidenced by what her real-life measurements would be: 36, 18, 38. Essentially, a woman with large breasts and hips and an extremely tiny waist, providing the girls who played with her a dangerous and impossible body image. In some cases, even the accessories contributed to these claims, such as 1965 Slumber Party Barbie and its accessories, which were a bathroom scale permanently set to 110 pounds, and a book titled How to Lose Weight, with the advice, don't eat. In Barbie's offense, the effects of body image can also be connected to an overwhelming media presence. It is true that back then, the media valued a sexy hourglass figure. Even now, media has a distinct view and values of beauty that can lead to pressure and unrealistic goals, and it is unreasonable to believe Barbie can be blamed for all these problems. Ruth Handler stated that Barbie has always represented that a woman has choices. Barbie did not have to settle for only being Ken's girlfriend or an inveterate shopper. If not for her own choice to push for the doll, America wouldn't have come across this monumental change that has been so indented in American culture that not many realize its influence. While we have to acknowledge Barbie may be the reason for the many pressures of body image, we also cannot ignore the great change she and Ruth Handler did to the toy marketing industry and the role she played in representing women and African Americans' growing power.
It thrills me to walk into an airport and see a child carrying her Barbie doll, or be in an assemblage of people and have a child playing with her Barbie. It's a great thrill. I'm humbled by the whole thought that we could have had that much influence, and yet I know that we did.